Okay, so let's talk about some of the supplies that you guys are gonna need to try out this really cool sea salt technique. So, as always, we're gonna start with some paper. So the paper that I'm using is Arch's 140 pound rough. I prefer the rough because I really like the tooth of the paper. You can kind of see some of that texture in there. I find that it grabs the watercolor really well and it holds on to the pigment. And then we have my handy dandy, very favorite Winsor & Newton watercolor brush. I don't know how well you guys can see that, if it's going to focus or not. But this is a Winsor & Newton Series 7 sable bristle brush. And it's a number 4. It's my favorite brush of all time. I use it for pretty much everything. Super neat palette that I got from Jerry's. And of course, you're going to need some sea salt. I have a little dish that I keep it in so it's easy to grab. It's just the cover to my, I believe this was a pesto jar. I'm also using some Winsor & Newton watercolors as well. So you just want to get the area really super saturated. Nice and wet, high pigment, saturated. To make sure it's really wet. The idea is that the salt is going to repel the pigment, so you want there to be enough on the surface for it to do that. Alright, so super saturated, nice and wet. I'm going to take a pinch of salt and we're just going to sprinkle it on some of the areas that we want it. And to give it that extra boost, I like to just add some water on top of these guys. And then we just let it dry. I already have some examples. These two here are still drying. This one I think came out really great. You can see that there's some really strong resistance here, so you can see the difference in the color and everything. This is an old example. This is one that I had done a few years back for a test for another piece. And you can see that I used a couple different colors in here. And that is a really fun way to kind of use this technique. But you can see these really fun like veiny lines and these speckles that it caused. Alrighty, so that is how you add some salt to your watercolor to create some cool texture. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. I'm always here to talk shop.